draw that deep into your heart, you can release your hands onto your thighs, lift your chin, and you can keep your eyes closed or not, reaching the arms out to the sides. Press through your seat and inhale, just sweeping the arms up, feel the whole side body stretch, and then slowly exhaling out and down. It's nice and easy. Again, inhale, sweeping it up, feel this whole side body stretching through the fingertips. Then exhale out and down, nice and slow. One more time, just like that. Inhale, sweep it up, feel the side body stretch, reach it through the fingertips. And then exhale out slowly, out and down, leaving the left hand on the floor alongside of the hip, inhaling the right arm up alongside of your ear. As you exhale, leaning over to your left side, push your right knee out and away, reaching out through your right fingertips. Bring your left shoulder forward, your right shoulder back. Allow yourself to get that deep body stretch without the right sit bone lifting. Press down through your seat, inhaling the right arm up to the sky. Exhale the right hand to the floor. Inhaling left arm up alongside of your ear. As you exhale, leaning over to your right side. Just nice and easy, reaching out. The left hand can crawl further away. The hand can push into the floor, elbow bending into your hip, shoulder blade sliding down your back, reaching out through your left fingertips as you push your left knee away. Feel the whole side body stretching. And think about having like a orange or a apple underneath your chin. So that brings the chin up out of the chest. Feel yourself reaching and stretching, and make sure you're getting a breath. Inhaling the arm up, exhale the hand down to the floor. Take your right hand to your left leg, left hand back behind you, pushing through both sit bones evenly. Press down to inhale, create the length. As you exhale, low belly, midsection, upper chest, gazing out over your left shoulder. So I'm using my right hand against the left leg. Those two push and pull against one another so that I can get a lever to take this deep, deep twist. Gaze out over your left shoulder, bringing your chin as close to the shoulder as possible. Every inhale, press down to get this extension up. With every exhale, taking the twist a little bit deeper. Notice any sensations in your body. Then inhale, look forward. As you exhale, releasing the twist. We'll take the left hand to the right leg, right hand back behind you, and press down through your seat to inhale, create length in the spine. As you exhale, begin twisting to the right. Low belly, midsection, upper chest, gazing out over your right shoulder. Remember to bring your chin as close to the shoulder as possible. Slide your shoulder blades down the back. Keep inhaling, creating the length. As you exhale, using the hand against the leg, the two press and pull against each other so that you can get this deep lever for a deep twisting. Notice where the sensations are in your body and how they're different from the other side. Then you'll inhale, look forward, and as you exhale, releasing the twist. Forward fold, inhaling, and as you exhale, walking the hands out. I press the floor away, still keeping the chest broad. And my belly would be coming down and my chest would be lifting up away from the floor. So that keeps you tilting. Yeah, that's very good. Bowing your head, just shake your head yes and no. Flub your lips a little bit. See if you can get all the muscles in the face to soften up and let go. And then pressing your hands into the floor, lifting your head and chest, gently walking it back. You're going to take your hands to outside of your knees, lean back, bring the knees in to extend your legs out. When you extend your legs out, we'll take a moment to point the toes, flex the feet, point the toes, flex, point, and flex. Circle in one direction, stop, circles in another, and then stop. Then we're going to bend our knees again, and whichever leg was in front, that will go in the back. So change the way that you crossed your legs. And then reset your seat so that you're angling the top of your pelvis toward the floor, that you can press down and lift up out of the low back. Left hand goes onto the floor alongside of the hip. Inhale, right arm up alongside of the ear. Remember the palm facing in, angle pinky in, slide the shoulder blade down your back. Let's go over to your left side, nice and easy. Be sure the right sit bone doesn't lift, and you'll get a bit more stretch this time, maybe. Breathing into that, inhaling and exhaling. Take the chin out of the chest, spin your belly and chest open to the sky, Reach your right knee away as you reach out through the fingertips. Keep that. Don't change anything. Just turn your face and look at the bottom hand. As I look at the bottom hand, remind yourself to take your right shoulder back. Get that deep, deep side stretch. Get a breath in there and then press down through everything you have. Inhaling, right arm up. Exhale, the right hand goes down to the floor. Left arm up alongside of the ear. Remember, shoulder stays away from the ear. Press your left knee out and away as you lean over to your right side, reaching out through your left fingertips. Your shoulders staying in line with your hips as you go over to the side. Pushing your left knee away, reaching out through the left fingertips. Slide the shoulders away from your ears. Spin your whole belly and chest open to the sky. Maybe getting a little further this time. Then don't change anything. Just turn your face and look at your right hand. As you look at the right hand, take your left shoulder back a little bit more. Reach out through the fingertips. Don't change anything. Just turn and gaze to the top arm. Reaching, breathing. Feel where you feel the sensations or stretches. Breathe into that. And then inhaling by pushing down, lift up, and the left hand to the floor. Right hand to your left leg, left hand back behind you. Press down through both sit bones. Inhale, create the length as you exhale, twisting to the left. Low belly, midsection, upper chest, gaze out over your left shoulder. Bring your chin as close to the shoulder as possible. Push your right knee out and away. As you get this deep twist, think about where you want this twist to happen. Are you working on detoxing? Do you want this in the abdominal digestive organs, or do you want this to be a spinal flexibility twisting? Inhale, look forward, and as you exhale, releasing the twist. Left hand to your right leg, right hand back behind you. Pressing down through your seat evenly. Inhale to create the length. As you exhale, twisting to the right. Low belly, midsection, upper chest, gaze out over your right shoulder. Every inhale, get taller. Every exhale, taking the twist a bit deeper by pulling the hand against the leg. The leg is resisting. You get this deep twist, but remember to keep lifting your rib cage away from the hips as you take this deep twist. Remember, where do you want this twist to happen more? You want this in the abdominal area, digestive organs for detoxification, or do you want spinal flexibility, working on the fountain of youth? Then you'll inhale, look forward, and as you exhale, releasing that, then here we go, coming down into our forward fold. As you walk your hands out and away, relax the frontal lobe of your brain, your forehead, and just let yourself drop in and be here for the class and just to breathe, inhaling and exhaling. Shake your head yes, shake your head no. Let go of anything that's in your way today. Just allow yourself to feel the postures and breathe. Pressing your hands into the floor, lifting your head and chest, exhaling. We're going to come back nice and easy. You're going to put your hands to the outer knees, bring them back in, extending the legs out. Ooh, nice and easy. All right. And then the first pose that we're moving into would be a straddle, a wide-legged. So I'm going to open up my legs out wide, but you don't want to go too wide. And then I also am still using the blanket to get the tilt of the front of my pelvis toward the floor. So I'm sitting more toward the front of my own sits bones. My legs are extended out wide to the side. Placing the left hand in the center, right hand to the outside. Press down, inhale, create length. As you exhale, twist to the right. Keep yourself twisted to the right. Then slide your left arm down alongside, inside of the left leg, and reach the lowest point you can go. So then take your right shoulder back. Feel yourself pulling the left rib cage long, sweeping your right arm up alongside of the right ear. You don't want to see your arm. You don't want it in front of your face. Take the arm back behind your ear. And if everything aligned, you would touch onto your foot, right? Breathing into that, inhaling and exhaling. Press down through everything that you have. Inhale, right arm up, bring shoulders up, right hand to the floor. Nice deep stretch. Right hand in the center, left hand to the outside, pressing down. Inhale, create the length so you get the lift. As you exhale, twisting to the left side. So my belly's trying to face my left thigh, keeping that twist, then sliding my right arm down inside of my right leg. And the key to that is the right inside of the leg is that the elbow can press against the inside of the leg. Those two can resist and you can get a deeper twist. Once you get the twist in and lengthening through the right rib cage, reach your left palm face up, sweep it all the way up, and try to touch onto your right toes. Allow yourself to spin the belly and chest open. Keep pushing out through your left leg, breathing into this. If your neck hurts, drop your right ear to your right shoulder, spin the belly and chest open. Remember to energize out through the fingertips, pushing your left leg away, and then push down through everything you have. Inhale, use left arm to bring yourself up, and you're back up to the center. Now a forward fold. So you may want to bolster out in front of you. You may want to block in front of you. But inhale, and as you exhale, remember the belly's coming down, chest is lifting up. Belly down, chest up. Belly down, chest up. Once I get to the forward fold that I need, support it with the bolster here. If you need it for the belly, you can even move it away from the belly and let it support your lower rib cage and get the fold forward. We're going to be here for just a moment. Whatever support it is that you need. If you have the flexibility in the hamstrings, maybe you'll just need a block and you can allow the forehead to rest. And just be here for a moment and breathe, inhaling and exhaling. Just let go. This is an entire back body stretch. So notice when it says that it's a back body stretch, where are you feeling the stretch in the pose for yourself? If your hamstrings are screaming, you can bring your heels closer to each other. You can decrease the width of the legs. You can also have a little bend in the knees. Whatever it is that you need to do to allow yourself to be here for a moment. Remember, in these restorative postures, when we hold a pose, it takes a couple of minutes to get into the deeper connective tissue. So it starts to address the chronic tightness that we have in our body. You can let your feet fall out to the side. So if we were doing a active class, a more a young class, we would worry about where the toes are pointing. But in the restorative yoga class, you want your feet just to fall out to the sides. We are holding the pose a bit longer. So just allow them to move wherever they need to be, but soften through the body and just breathe every inhale and every exhale. So you want to notice where sensations are creeping up in the body, where it happened when you first went into the pose and has it moved around a little bit. Start to pay attention, drawing in and seeing what's happening in your own body, getting to know your baseline of where you are, and just simply breathe. No judgment, just breathing. As you continue to hold the pose, again, noticing where it's moving around, sensations in the body, or is it staying the same? Remember to breathe into any space that's calling for your attention. Take the breath in, and as you exhale, let go of whatever's holding back there. Then very slowly, you'll begin to press your hands into the floor or the bolster, exhaling, walking it in nice and easy. Ooh. Then you're going to lean back. I'll slide my hands underneath my knees. Then I'll help my knees bend. And then you'll bring the soles of your feet together. And as you draw the soles of your feet together, draw the heels in towards your groin. So then that makes me sit a little bit more rounded, right? So I have to remember to oochie scoochie toward the front of my seat so that the top of my pelvis angles toward the floor. Then I'll take my hands and cradle the feet. It'll be like, my feet will be like a book where I can open up the pages. So the outer blades of the feet are touching, the inner blades of the feet are opening out wide. Take a deep inhale here. And then as you exhale, if it's available, you'll hinge at your hips, folding forward. And then my elbows start to bend in, and they bend. I let them go onto the upper thighs. And so my forearms on the upper thighs, I bring my belly down, my chest up, and it keeps a nice little, keeps your posture and the integrity of the pose. And then you can just simply bow your head and breathe. So we are definitely in the hips today. The inner thighs getting a deep stretch as well. Breathing into this and then pressing down through everything you have. Inhale, lift your head and chest. Exhale, coming up nice and easy. Then you're going to take your hands to the outer knees and bring the knees in together. Then we're going to shift over to the left hip or the right hip so that you can come onto hands and knees. I'm going to give you the side view of the hands and knees. So the hands lining up underneath my shoulders, the hands are shoulder distance apart. My knees are hip bone distance apart, the toes curled under. Inhale, starting with your tailbone, lift your chest, seat up, arching the back. As you exhale, start with the pelvis. Draw the pelvis in, bring your head in, press the floor away, squeeze, and exhale everything out. Again, slowly rolling through the spine, lifting the head, chest, seat up, arching your back. Exhale, head comes in, pelvis comes in, push around and squeeze it all out. One more time, inhale, lifting your head, chest, seat up, deep arch in your back. Exhale, head comes in, pelvis comes in, press around and squeeze. Inhaling your spine into a neutral position. Then I'm going to have a block handy. So now I'm turning the face forward so that you can see from my hands and knees where I was. I'll take my right foot up into the front. Then I'm going to scooch my right foot over to the left side so that I have my right knee in front of the left knee. So I'm going to turn to the side so you can see that right knee in front of the left knee, tucking those in tight. Then I will have a block or something waiting for me just to be safe for my knees, to push your butt back, push your butt back, push your butt back. And then right before you sit down, scoop your tailbone and then have a seat. Good. All right. Have your strap handy. I should tell you that a little bit earlier, right? Have your strap handy. Oh, and then remember we had right knee in front of the left knee, knees tucked one on top of the other. Then you have your feet out to the sides, and in between my calves, I have something to assist my seat. It helps my knee problems. Then get your sit bones evenly pressing down. Take a look at your heels and be sure that your heels are hip distance, equal distance from your hips. So my left heel is trying to come closer to my right hip. I'm going to scooch the left heel out and away. Then once I get that, I'll take the strap into my left hand. And when I take the left arm out to the side, up alongside of the ear, drop the left hand between the shoulder blades, reaching the right arm out to the side, palm down, turn your thumb down, then bend your right elbow, and then hold hands. So this is your hips and shoulders, cow face pose or Gomukhasana. And then you elbows, if they're out to the side, draw them in toward the spine. As you pull the strap against each other, you pull it apart like you're going to break the strap. Then you can slide your shoulder blades down the back. So hugging the elbows in, shoulder blades down your back, and then you want to pull your low ribs back. Now, ideally, I would have the crook of my left elbow right behind my head. Then I would actively push my head against the elbow, keeping the chin parallel. Slide shoulder blades down the back and breathe. So this is the full cow face pose, inhaling and exhaling, shoulders and hip opener. Notice which hip is feeling the stretch. Where in the shoulders is this affecting you? If the pose has a purpose and you're not feeling it in those places, the tiniest movement can take you into the pose and you can feel what you're supposed to feel. Inhale, and as you exhale, releasing your right hand first, releasing your left arm out. Then I'll come forward onto my hands and knees. So I still have the right knee in front of the left, curl the toes under. This is our break dancing. You could choose to follow along. Just the knees lift, the feet are going to pivot. I'll crawl to the left, go a full circle. And then when I come back, my left knee will be in front of the right. Tucking those in tightly. I have the block waiting there for my bottom. Stick your butt out, and then right before you sit down, scoop the tailbone. Then be sure to get the sit bones evenly pressing into the floor or the block or whatever it is. Then I notice, are my heels equal distance from my hips? No. My right heel is further away. My left heel is further away. So I'm going to scooch the right foot away and try to get that even, but you can see it changes the way I'm sitting. So evenly sitting, then taking the strap into the right hand. As I take the strap into the right hand, reach the right arm up alongside of the ear with the palm in, bend the right elbow, the hand goes between the shoulder blades, and you can even help yourself take your left hand to your right elbow and pull it straight back. Then from there, releasing the left arm out with the palm down, turn your thumb down, bend your elbow, and then hold hands back there. If you can't hold hands, you grab onto the strap, and the idea is try to pull it apart. So as you pull it apart, slide the shoulder blades down your back, pull your low ribs back in space, press down through your seat to extend up through the spine, and breathe here, inhaling and exhaling. So just notice where you're feeling this stretch. Where in the shoulders are you feeling it? Is it different than the other side? On this particular pose, I feel something going on in my own left shoulder, and I'm wondering, that's new. Something to pay attention to and keep my eye on, right? And where in the hips are you feeling the stretch? How intense is it compared to the other side? And just use your breath to breathe into it. Any space that's calling for your attention that you just happen to notice, try to breathe into that space, taking the inhale in, and as you exhale, releasing anything that's in the way, and breathe. So this is a shoulder and hip opener, cow face pose, and just breathing into that, inhaling and exhaling. Just a few more breaths as I push the back of my head into the arm presses back, shoulder blades down the back, keep hugging my elbows in toward the center, breathe, inhale, and as I exhale, I'll release the left hand first, then the right arm out, good, and then you can come onto your hands and knees, and then you can unwind yourself. Now, next, we'll have the bolster in the center in the front for you. I'm going to scooch it out forward so I can pull it back when I need to. I'm on my hands and knees, bringing my right foot forward. Okay. Then I'll place my palms a little forward so that I can ooch and scooch my right foot over to the left side of the mat. So the right knee stays on the right side. The right foot goes to the left side of the mat. Then I move forward so I can get my right knee to the floor. Then I'm going to turn to the side so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. Then I'm going to scoot my left leg back. Pull your right hip back, left hip forward. Walking your hands back. Hug and squeeze your outer hips in, tightening the muscles. And then as you exhale, you can expand the back leg out a little bit more. Inhale, creating length. See if you can get a little bit closer to the floor. Now, if my right foot cheeks off the floor like it is, I would put support only under the right sit bone. Then inhale, creating length, using your hands, pull the floor back, bringing the bolster forward, crawling out and down onto the bolster. Turn your head to the right or left, resting on one ear or the other. Then the top of your left foot, press those toenails into the floor. As you press the toenails into the floor, push it down so much that the left knee lifts. Pull the right hip back, extend your spine longer, and just simply breathe here, inhaling and exhaling. So you're going to hold this one, breathing in and exhaling out. Just notice where your thoughts go. What part of the body are you feeling this in? This is a big hip opener, so the right hip is going to feel this a lot. It's also a front body stretch because the left front hip should be feeling some stretching. The more active the back foot is pressing into the floor, the more intense the stretch will be. You're trying to get both hip points facing the floor, the hips as level as possible, and just breathe into this. So I feel this through the right outer hip a lot, even a little bit in the right inner thigh. Definitely the left hip flexor, and breathe. So again, these are restorative yoga poses. You might see these classes, see this pose in a class and you don't hold it very long. In restorative yoga, we get to hold the poses a bit longer, which means you may get more sensations, more thoughts creeping in. Instead of identifying with any thoughts that come in, just acknowledge that a thought has come in and send it on its way. Just imagine like clouds going in the sky. You just see a cloud, there it is, and then it goes by. Let your thoughts be like that and just stay with your breath, connect to your body, notice where you're feeling sensation and allow yourself to move breath into that space. It's just you and what's going on inside of you right now. And breathe. Just a few more breaths of allowing your hips to sink lower into the floor. Let your chest crawl a little bit more forward and try to find some peace in the pose. Find some sort of steady easiness in the pose, even though it may be difficult, but can you bring ease into the difficulty of the pose? And the way you bring the ease in is by the breath. Now, very, very slowly, you'll begin to press your hands into the floor, lift your head and chest, walking the hands back in, yeah, and then sit onto the right hip so that you can sweep your left leg out. Then I can come to my hands and knees. And from the hands and knees, I'll bring my left foot forward, knee over the heel or ankle, cross the left foot to the right side of the mat, scoot forward in your hips so that the left knee can actually touch down to the floor. When the knee touches down to the floor, curl your right toes under, lift your right knee, and start to scooch the right leg back. Just see how close you can get your pelvis to the floor on this side. You should not feel this in the knee. You should not feel this in your ankle. So if that is happening, just the way that the foot is flexed, the left foot is flexed, should help that. Then I want to walk it back and create this lift. As I create the lift, what I'm doing is squeezing all my muscles. So I'm hugging the skin to the muscles and the muscles hugging the bone. You feel the outer hips engage. You get this tight squeeze. Inhale. Keep the muscles squeezing, but get your back leg out further. Then inhale, creating length as you exhale. Hinging at your hips, folding forward, coming out and down on the left leg. You'll see what's happening here. If there's any pressure on the knee, you just change the angle of your left foot. So if my left knee's on the left side and I'm feeling something in my knee, if my shin's parallel with the front of my mat, I would draw the left heel closer to my right groin. So just checking on those things. Folding forward, lengthening the spine, allow one ear or the other to rest on the bolster and breathe. Place your right toenails onto the floor. All 5 toenails press into the floor so that the kneecap lifts. As that happens, I shift my left hip back and bring my right hip point closer to the floor. Then crawling the belly further away, extending the spine and just breathing. So you should be feeling this in the left outer hip. You would feel this in the right front hip. Allow yourself to breathe into the pose, inhaling and exhaling. It's very important that with these poses, when we do one side and then the other, that there's some comparison for you to start noticing if the body is balanced. Is it equal on one side or the other? Just allow yourself to breathe in, inhaling and exhaling. Any sensation that arises, allow yourself to acknowledge the sensation, but then just let it go. Notice if your shoulders are creeping up around your ears and send them away so that everything is about making space for yourself, just making the space in the postures. When you draw the breath in and you exhale it out, draw the breath into any space that feels like it's calling attention to. I feel it a lot in my left outer hip, and I just want to breathe into that space, taking a gentle breath in, and as I exhale, I invite that tightness to let go. I'm supported in every way. Once your body realizes that you're moving slowly and you're supporting yourself so that you won't get hurt, and then let your breath be calm. Your breath is what talks to the brain. It talks to the nervous system. So keeping your breath nice and calm, there should be some release in the pose. Holding it greater than 2 to 3 minutes, you are getting into the chronic tension and tightness. And when you have chronic tension or tightness in the body, it takes more than one yoga class to get in there and to release it. It's a consistent practice. Keep visiting that, keep breathing into it. Just a few more breaths. Every time you breathe in, take it into any spot in your body that is calling for your attention now. Allow yourself to breathe in, and when you exhale, invite it to just leave. Thoughts coming into your brain other than the breath in and where you're feeling the pose, acknowledge the thought and then send it on its way. Remember, you carved this time out for yourself. Then pressing the hands into the floor, lifting your head and chest. We'll slowly let the left hip come onto the floor, and then I'll sweep the right leg out. Excellent. Then I'll move everything out. I'm just going to bring a bolster right in the center of my mat. Then I'll have you from your hands and knees crawl over the bolster. So let me go to the side so you can see. And those same hip points that we were talking about angling toward the floor, those are the hip points I'd like to have on the bolster. So I'm going to crawl out. Let it rest. Extend my legs out. Let your feet fall out to the sides and turn your head to one side or the other. So just allow yourself to breathe into that, inhaling and exhaling. Your chest relax. Your hips really melting into the earth. Just allow yourself to feel all the support that is beneath you and to melt into that, right? Just let it go. Deep hip stretches that we did, let that soften now. A little pressure in your abdominal area. Every time you breathe in, feel the belly pressing into the bolster. And then let yourself just soften more into that support. Notice where you're feeling the releasing happening in your hips, in your low back, allowing the pressure in your abdominal area, just pressing the organs, a little stimulation, and breathe. Just a few more breaths. Inhaling and exhaling. Starting to think about coming out of the posture. Remember that you want to keep the relaxation, so you'll place your hands alongside underneath your shoulders. Then very gently pushing yourself back to hands and knees, so you shift your hips way back. And then we'll go into a child's pose, the big toes together, knees apart. So on the child's pose, what I recommend is we're holding it for a restorative posture. So I'm going to have a block in the front. I'll have the bolster about a third of the way down from the top of the bolster. I'll have that block there. That gives me an incline. Walking my knees up, I'm going to open up my knees out wide, keep my big toes together, press my seat onto the heels. And then from there, keeping the seat on the heels, pull the belly forward, the rib cage away from your hips, and fold, hinging in your hips. And then you'll have a space where you can have your arms go around and just turn one ear or the other ear toward the floor. There's several heights that you can do on the bolster or the block. So find your place, your Goldilocks of the pose, and just breathe. Let your belly soften. Let your eyes soften. This stretches the tops of the thighs. It stretches on the ankles, the tops of your feet. Releases the low back. So just let the belly really soften down into the support that's beneath it. Let your shoulders soften and do nothing to hold yourself up. Just being in this protective child's pose. This pose is great for the central nervous system, great for pulling in and feeling comfort, feeling safety and security. Just closing the whole front body down. Allow yourself to breathe in and exhale out. So a few more breaths where you feel the belly pressing into the bolster. Every time you breathe, just let the belly come down, feeling the belly breath. And then as you exhale, exhale it all out, and you feel even more length in your spine. You could press your seat back more. You can expand your heart forward more. If you're on one side, one ear, you can turn and balance it out, being on the other. So just release and let go there. A few more breaths. After your next exhalation, you draw your hands out. If they're wrapped underneath the bolster, you have your hands ready to help you. Then you're going to press your hands into the floor. You're gently going to round and roll up. You're going to come back up. There you go. And then come to your hands and knees. Scoot your knees back. Moving the bolster out. Setting the block off to the side. So this next one is not that fun, but it's a great pose. All right, so this is a half frog pose. So I'm going to lay on my belly, elbows underneath my shoulders so that I can press and lift myself up. Okay, then you're going to lean over towards your left hip point so that you can draw your right knee out. And so I'm bending my right knee. My right knee is in line with my right hip. I'll take my right foot and I'll stack that underneath my knee. So I'm making a 90-degree angle here. Then I'll turn and lay down onto the floor. So I have the left leg extended straight out and I have the right knee bent, the foot out, toes facing away. And the idea is if I could turn my belly to the left, turning my belly to the left and then crawling the arms out, allow yourself to rest. I stack my hands and that gives me a place for my ear to rest. And just breathe. So this is a big hip opener. We should be feeling it in the right side. If you've ever done a class with me and we've worked on the Pez dispenser, this is a great place to utilize that isometric movement. If we did the Pez dispenser, we would have the block in the inner upper thighs. When we do that, we roll the inner upper thighs back and apart. That sticks my butt out, and then I scoop the tailbone, and that adds a little more into the actual hip release, and it also feels a little safer. So just breathing into that. If you crawl over to your left a little bit more, you'll get more of a stretch in the right side. Just breathe. When we do a lot of hip work, it'll be natural if you're going about your day and you just feel kind of teary-eyed. And sometimes the emotions, things that are stuck in our bodies start to come out, and we don't have to even know what they are. You just acknowledge it and just letting go of something, right? So just a few more breaths, allowing the right hip to feel the openness. The right side of the body is the masculine. The left side is the feminine. There's a lot of energies associated with the right and left. We worked on alternate nostril breathing earlier, and that was to balance out the energies between the right and left side, right? And now we're doing the right hip opener. Great. And then as we prepare to come out, you'll bring your hands underneath your shoulders, and then you're going to draw your right knee back in. Oh, and extend your right leg out. And onto the elbows, elbows underneath your shoulders so that you can press down and you're not slumping. You press down and you get some length in the low back. As you extend the legs out, the legs close to one another, now we begin to bend the left knee. So I'm going to lean over to my right side. And then draw the left knee out to the side. And I want to draw the knee only in line with the left hip. And then my foot is more in the middle, and I'm going to scooch my left foot out so that my ankle is right underneath my knee. Then I use my elbows that are underneath my shoulders to help lift my pelvis and turn myself to get more, allowing the left side to come down. So then once I get that crawling out, the right leg is extended out. You should feel this in the left hip. And where I can get more of this is when I try to get my belly button to go to the right, turn my torso to the right, and even crawl over to the right a little bit more. I really feel this in the left hip. And then I think about the Pez dispenser action, the inner thighs rolling back and apart. That would be like rolling the block up to the ceiling, scoop your tailbone, and you get some mobility in the hip joint there. And breathe. So again, the left side is the feminine. In the hips, we have relationships, romantic relationships, relationships with our children. Don't have children, it could be your fur babies or whatever, you know, so just relationships in the hips. And as we release this, we're releasing past wounds, past stories, and no need to even know what they are, just time to let them go so that your whole body is not just tight and angry as you get older, right? And just breathe. When you draw the breath in, you exhale it out, make sure that the breath is soft, especially if you're miserable in the pose. Like the more miserable you are, that's something that you want to look at. Why? Why is there such misery on this one side compared to the other side? You know, those are your exploration, right? For you. Just keep the breath moving. Let the hip just melt in. You want that whole left hip point to eventually make it to the floor, but in a soft way. No force, just allowing yourself to be there for a few moments so you feel the hip relaxing. Breathing into that. After your next exhalation, you'll start to think about coming out of the pose. Then placing your hands underneath your shoulders. Draw the left knee back in. Extend both legs out. Oh. Then bringing the elbows back underneath your shoulders. Your forearms are parallel with each other. The legs extended out and active. Press your elbows down to lift your chest up. And then I have my hands on the mat and I kind of pull the mat back, and that broadens the chest. Reach the legs away at the same time and you'll feel release in your low back. Just allowing the chest to open. You can gaze up. And then very slowly you'll exhale and begin to release this, pressing your hands into the floor, pushing yourself to your hands and knees. Allow yourself to lay onto your back. And then as we transition over to our back, knees are bent, feet onto the floor. Take a moment and hug your knees up into your chest. As you hug the knees up into your chest, placing your palms onto your kneecaps, flex your feet, push your knees away so that now you have your arms extended out, straighten out, draw the head of your arm bones in. Good. Keeping the knees and feet together, do little circles. You'll see that you roll on the sacrum and see if there's any knots in there. If you feel a place that has knots in it, allow yourself to stay there for a moment and just press into that knot area. After a few circles in both directions, you'll come back to the center, placing your feet onto the floor. Extend your legs out. and take a full body stretch. Stretch the right side, stretch your left side, stretch it out nice and even. And then hopefully you have a block handy close by. You'll draw your heels back in towards your bottom. Your feet are hip bone distance apart. The arms are alongside of you. Press your feet and the arms into the floor to lift the hips up. Then taking your block, you have the lowest level, you have a medium level, and then you can have a high level. Let that rest under the sacrum. Your chest goes to your chin. You move your chin away from the chest. And just breathe here. On the highest level now, and then extend your legs out and away. Your feet are going to go a bit wider, and you'll feel the deep stretch in the front hips. That releases the hip flexors. The hip flexors are usually locked tight because we live our lives under chronic stress, and we're always ready to run or fight or fly, run away from something. So this muscle group is always on. So now you're getting this deep stretch. It's also stretching in the abdominal area. Anytime that we stretch or bring sensation into a muscle group, there's going to be some blood flowing in there, and that's really good. You don't want to feel this in the low back. So now I'm going to start to draw my heels in closer to my buttocks. Then to see if it's in the right place, bring your knees over your hips. It should be absolutely easy to do this. Again, the chest goes to the chin. You move your chin away. Then you can extend your legs up. Keep your ankles over your knees and your knees over your hips. And just let your legs hang out up there and breathe. So this is variation of shoulder stand. So many benefits in this pose. But you're draining blood from the lower extremities. If you drive a lot, if you sit a lot, and if you stand a lot in your job, there's fluid in the lower extremities that it has a hard time getting up back into the lymphatic system, into the heart. So you're just helping drain all the fluid from the lower extremities. This is great if you have varicose veins. This is good for insomnia, any problem sleeping. This pose brings relaxation into the body. Now allow yourself to breathe into that, and just the lymphatic system, there's a lot of lymph nodes in the hip creases, and it's going to help with the detoxing the body, washing out all the toxins. So this is something that you slowly work your way up into, just breathing into that. Just make sure it's effortless. There's no work in the abdominal area. Your shoulders can relax, your eyes can be soft, and let the hips be heavy. Just a few more breaths, allowing everything to drain out of the legs. Make sure that your breathing is calm, that you're conscious of the breath, drawing the breath in and exhaling it out, so that when we return the blood flow into the legs, it will be a healthier blood supply. Start with bending one knee, bringing the calf parallel with the floor, bend the other knee, calf parallel with the floor. This is a slow return of blood flow into the legs. I can feel that happening. And especially if you have low back pain, take one foot down, followed by the other foot down. Then I'm on the highest height. I'm going to press, squeeze my butt, lift up, and go to the next height. Once I get to the next height, I'll just stay here for a moment. These are slow, slow returns. Then I press down, squeeze the butt, and bring it down to the lowest height. Give yourself a moment here. We do knees side to side. It just rolls onto the sacrum. I like the wooden blocks because it really definitely gets some sensation there. And any areas that I feel knots in, I just kind of take some time. So now that you're on the block of the lowest height, you're going to take the soles of your feet together, knees open wide, draw the heels in close to the groins, and just be in this Baddha Konasana here. The hips are raised up higher, the knees are falling out to the side. You should feel a definite stretch in the front of the hips, the inner thighs, and just breathe. You can have your hands on your abdomen, feeling the belly rise every time you draw the breath in, and feeling the belly relax as you exhale out, exhale out, exhale out. Every inhale, feel the belly rise more. Let your knees soften more. Let your hips open more and breathe. Just a few more breaths here, just allowing yourself to find any open space. If your low back hurts, there's a lift. Extend the tailbone, reach up the seat, and it really helps with that. After your next exhalation, exhaling it all out, taking your hands to the outer thighs, helping your knees come closer together, open your feet hip bone distance apart, press down. You want to squeeze your buttocks as you lift up, take the last block out, and then bring it down slowly, top to bottom, rolling out and down. Then step your feet mat distance apart. So I have my pinky toes on each side of the mat. And then slowly windshield wiper your knees side to side. Right and left, right and left. Just a couple of times side to side. And then meeting back in the middle, in the center. Then let both knees go over to your right side. As I let both knees go over to my right side, then I may take my right ankle and place it to the outer left thigh, right above the knee, and let my right knee melt toward the floor, left inner knee melt toward the floor. I might even use my elbows into the floor to lift my shoulders and turn to the left. That adds a bit more. If I extend the arms up, I would take my right hand to my left wrist and pull on the left wrist. So I would get a definite sensation in the left front hip, left outer hip, even toward the left back side. Just breathe. Gazing over to your left shoulder, beyond your left shoulder, adds a little more. Then I release the hands first, then step your right foot back down, make sure your pinky toe finds the edge of the mat. Then being careful with your back, you inhale the left knee up first, bring the right knee back into center. Be sure to center your hips, inhale, and with both pinky toes on the edges of the mat, both knees go over to your left side. I dig my elbows in, I lift my chest, and I turn my chest more to the right, so I get my right shoulder blade down. Just breathe into that. If I want to go further, I'm going to take my left ankle, cross that to my right outer thigh. Let the left knee just dangle there. Let the right inner knee start to soften. If I wanted to extend the arms up, the left hand's going to hold on to the right wrist now. Arms on the floor. I extend them up. And then I use my left hand to pull my right wrist away. Gaze out over your right shoulder and just see where you feel this pose. Breathing into this, inhaling and exhaling. This side is my tighter side. It feels really good to be in this stretch. I want to use my breath into the areas that I'm feeling sensation. So I'm making sure that I'm breathing in there. And when I exhale, I'm consciously asking it to let go of the tightening and squeezing of the muscles. Just letting go. Softening in one way or another. Just allow yourself to soften. Few deep breaths here, inhaling and exhaling. I release my arms first, draw my elbows back in, then I gently take the left leg off, set the left foot down, protecting my low back, draw the navel to the spine, inhale, right knee up, followed by the left knee up, and then we're back into the center. As we come back into the center, I'm gonna center my hips, bring the knees into the chest. I've done a lot of work like in the back. We've gotten into the back a little bit today. I'll take the right knee, cross it over the left knee, but notice my feet aren't on the floor. My knees are up to my chest. Then I cross my right knee over the left knee, keeping my knees into the chest. My left hand will go to the outer right knee. The right arm extends out to the side, shoulder height or higher. If you wanted to double wrap, you can double wrap this one. This is going to be quite intense. Take a deep inhale, and as you exhale, I put my left elbow down and I have my left hand ready to grab on to the right knee so I don't go too far. If I'm able to go more, I place my left foot to the floor first. Then I gently allow my right knee to make it to the floor or not, but I never let my right shoulder lift. Gaze out over your right shoulder and breathe into this supine spinal twist. Pretty intense. I've double wrapped on this one. I can use my left hand on the right outer hip point too, so I can pull my right outer hip away from my shoulders. So I create that length. I hear lots of snap, crackle, and pop in my spine. And just breathe into that. This is a pretty intense spinal twist, so I want to be really, really careful when I draw the knees back to the center. So what I'll do is prepare, draw the navel to the spine, then I press my arms and inhale, bring it back to the center. Then I glamorously uncross, if not glamorous, then cross the left knee over the right, hook the foot in again, put the foot down, make sure that my hips are level, draw the knees back into the chest, left arm extends out to the side, inhale, and then as I begin to bring the left knee over to the right side, my right elbow is down, my right hand is down, ready to receive it. I check in, I'm like, is that too much? Am I okay? Then I try to get my right outer foot to kind of touch down and be my guide. Inhale. And as I exhale, let the right knee continue to go over to the left side as much as it wants to, but never at the expense of my left shoulder. So I'm going to keep the left shoulder blade anchored to the floor. I'm going to use my right hand to my left hip point now. Every inhale, I'm going to try to pull my left hip point away from my shoulders, down. Every exhale, I'll try to take the whole thing over to the right a little bit more. So there's down and long, and then over to get that crunch. Gaze out over your left shoulder. Notice any guarding in the body, where you're tightening up, where you're squeezing, where it might be uncomfortable. You back off a little bit and let yourself breathe in, and then you slowly move in deeper into this pose. But it's a very slow. Protecting your low back, you'll draw your navel into the spine, pressing down through your arms and elbows. Inhale, bring it back to the center. Do that glamorous come across, feet down, shift my hips neutral, draw my knees up into my chest, hug the knees into your chest. Give yourself a little hug. You made it through a hip opening and shoulder opening class. Then you're going to hug and squeeze. Bring your forehead to your knees. Squeeze yourself into the tightest little ball. Squeeze so tight, squeeze so tight, squeeze so tight. Take a deep inhale, and as you exhale, let your legs release out. Feet falling out to the sides, arms out to the sides, palms facing up. And just breathe here, inhaling and exhaling. Now, as we begin to move into Shavasana, the final resting pose, feel free to support yourself in any way. If I have any kind of low back issues, I may take the bolster underneath my knees and thighs, and that helps me tilt the pelvis up. And that would be a nice way to rest, covering yourself. You want to put sandbags on your hands and on the upper hip, lower abdominal area. So if you have the sandbags and wanted to utilize them, this is where you would do it in this pose, the palms up, and then you could put a mask on your face, but start to decrease these outer senses. If you take the sight away and you start to draw your own hearing in towards yourself, bring all of your awareness into your feet and let your feet soften and relax. Feel the feet receiving the relaxation and just let them be heavy. The soles of your feet, your toes, the tops of your feet, through the heels into the ankles, just let go. Both feet, letting go, relaxing. Let the relaxation continue to wash over you from your ankles into the shins and the calves. Give all the joints in the body permission to soften and relax. Allow all of your bones to rest deeply. There's nothing for you to do. There's nothing for you to fix, and there's no right and no wrong in this Shavasana. Just a simple surrendering into relaxation. Your shins, your calves, your knees, the skin behind your knees, the thighs and the hamstrings, allow yourself to be heavy, melting into the earth, and relax. The front of your hips softening, the sides of your hips softening, and even allow the buttocks to let go of any gripping and just soften, relax. Feel the relaxation washing into the abdominal area and allow all of your organs to soften and relax. Nothing to do, nothing to fix, no thinking, just letting go. As the abdomen softens, let your chest become light. Allow your heart to expand. As you allow your body to melt into the earth, the back body connecting in deeper, just feeling the openness of the heart, the chest. Allow the shoulders to soften and relax, and feel the relaxation washing into your arms, through your arms into your hands, from your hands into your fingers. Begin to send the exhalations out through your fingertips one by one. Every time you exhale, send away something that no longer serves you. Just let it go. Be sure to give every fingertip an exhalation. As you continue to send your exhalations out through the fingertips, you feel the palms softening, the forearms softening, the upper arms softening, the shoulders, the neck, the throat, and the jaw let go. Allow your upper teeth to separate from your lower teeth. And allow the tongue to simply float in the mouth. All the muscles in your face softening and relaxing and letting go. Feel your eyes melting further back into their sockets. The frontal lobe of your brain softening. The inner canals of your ears soft. The frontal lobe of your brain surrendering into the relaxation, the space right behind your forehead, just soft and letting go. From the tips of your toes through the crown of your head, your entire body surrendering into the relaxation. Allow yourself to move into a deep Savasana. And today I will let the class end as you're moving into Savasana so that you can remain in this relaxation as long as your body needs, staying at least 10 minutes and then gradually bringing yourself out. Thank you for joining me today.